Hi everybody and welcome to my Friday update. It's going to be a little bit longer Friday update than normal because I'm going to tell you very quickly about some things that are coming up in the life of the church, and then I really want to fill you in on where we are in our thinking regarding replacing Rob Hadfield in his role of Associate Minister. So I'm going to talk about that in a bit more detail after I've told you about some things that are coming up in the life of the church. So the first thing I want to tell you, this coming Sunday, two services, 9:15 and 11 o'clock, two morning services I should have said, because at 4 o'clock we've also got Songs of Praise in the afternoon. So I'd love to invite you to join us 9:15 or 11 o'clock in the morning as we continue our series called This One Thing. It's a big story Sunday, so everybody's together at the 11 o'clock. All the kids and young people will be joining in with that at the 11 o'clock. The 11 o'clock will also be live streamed as per usual, and Alex Pugh and the team and the gang are all ready to welcome you in for those services on Sunday morning. And then on Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, as I said, it's Songs of Praise on the theme of forgiveness, which has been our kind of big theme over the last few Sundays. And there'll be a whole bunch of people, Marina Caddy, Dave Choules, and the whole team will be there for Songs of Praise on Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock for the service. Cup of tea and some cake after it. We'd love to see you for that on Sunday afternoon. And we do Songs of Praise typically on the last Sunday of the month at 4 o'clock. So some other things that are coming up. Keep a big eye out for all the stuff that's going on with our children and young people at the moment, because there's a whole load of stuff. There's a Nerf event coming up on a Friday evening. There's stuff going on for young adults, and they've just kicked off this week with a bike ride and a trip to the pub, and then there's a curry night coming up in a couple of weeks' time. For all the details about all of that, do keep checking us out on social media, and if you want to know more about it, for kids work it's Grace Henny, for youth work it's Ivan, and Ivan for the young adult stuff as well, so do connect in with them. And then we're gearing ourselves up for a couple of important Sundays in the next few weeks. So on the 9th of October, we've got a one-off Sunday thinking about the climate and the planet and how we take better care of it and all of that kind of stuff. So that's going to be a one-off Sunday that week with some social media challenges in the build-up to it around things we can do to make a difference when it comes to taking better care of our planet. And then the week after that, on Sunday the 16th of October, we start our Be Rich campaign for this autumn. We did it last year and it was a huge success. It's about being rich in generosity towards other people, and that's going to start on that Sunday for a 3-week Sunday series. But actually the day before, on Saturday, we've got a Be Rich drive-through. We're inviting you to come and drive through the church car park and drop off stuff for some local causes that we're passionate about. That will be the food bank, that will be our Embrace ministry that helps vulnerable women who have been abused and had to leave home in a hurry, and it will also include our work and support for asylum seekers that are in Andover at the moment and providing clothes and stuff for them. So please watch out for the details of all of that coming up in the next few weeks as well, and be ready and be thinking about our Be Rich campaign. Okay, as I said, back to thinking about how we replace Rob in his role. We had an amazing Sunday last Sunday where we got to celebrate the sending off of Rob and his wife Tracy as Rob heads into this new phase of his life, training to be a chaplain in the RAF. We're going to miss them hugely, but they were so thankful for the send-off, and it was an amazing Sunday of sadness, yes, but also celebration. And of course, we've been thinking as a church about, well, how do we move on into the next stage of what God has for us at ABC. And we've been thinking and praying for a while about how we might replace Rob's role. And we've shared some of this with some of you already at the vision night we had last week and at the prayer gathering that we had last night. But I just want to catch you up, if you weren't able to be at those events, with what our thinking is. So basically, as we've been thinking about it as elders and leaders, we recognised we had two options for replacing Rob's role. Now, Rob's role had two key components to it. Rob was in charge of pastoral care across the church, not doing it all himself, but enabling and equipping others to do it, as well as doing some himself. And we have some wonderful teams helping and supporting people pastorally in the church. And then the second part of his role was this whole area we call next steps, which is to do with discipleship or spiritual formation, how we grow in our relationship with Jesus, whether we're still exploring faith or whether we've been Christians for years. And alongside other ministerial duties that Rob did, preaching and hosting services and funerals and weddings and those kind of things, things. Those were the core elements of Rob's job. So when we were looking at how do we replace those, and we think we need to replace those core elements, there's no change there, we thought, well, we got two options. One is we could go out for a like-for-like replacement for Rob, try and find another minister or whatever to come in and join the team to do that work. Or we could split the role into two, into the pastoral element, the pastoral leadership element, and the next steps discipleship element, and split it into two and look potentially for two different people. So as we've been thinking and reflecting on that, we just have a real sense it's that second option is the one to go for. We just couldn't figure out the first option. Where do we go to find a minister? How would that work? Would they really want to come and do that kind of job? How would that fit with the team? We already have two ministers on our team, and myself and Alex Pugh, our associate minister. So how would all of that work? And we couldn't get a sense of peace about that, if I'm honest, that's where God wanted us to go. So as we started to explore the other option of splitting the roles, just some opportunities became available. We thought, actually, do you know what, this could really work. We think there may well be some people who would be interested in those two different roles. So we began to think, actually, maybe this is where God is calling us to go. And when we shared that with the church vision night last week, we were looking for a sense of what people were expecting and how people might feel about that. And there was just a sense that actually that would be a good thing to pursue. So that's the road that we're heading down. And so the way we're going to do it is we're going to look for two different roles. We're going to look for somebody to come and be what we might call our pastoral ministry leader in the church, to be involved in equipping us all for pastoral care, doing some pastoral care, and helping us with weddings and funerals and things. And we think that could happen in about a day and a half a week. And I need to say about pastoral care that in some of the other roles we've adapted recently, so Grace Henney's role as our children's and families ministry leader, and Ivan as our youth and young adults, there's a pastoral element in their roles now that wasn't there before. So they're going to be responsible for the pastoral care of people in those age groups. So we're kind of covering a lot of that already, which is great. So we think a day and a half a week would really work for that. And then the second role, the sort of next steps discipleship role, we think would be closer to a full-time role, if not a full-time role. And actually that person would come and lead us in all those resources we have and that we want to equip people with to help them grow in their faith, to lead our connect groups, which are a key part of our plans for how we help people grow in their faith, as well as helping potentially with service hosting and maybe some preaching and those kind of things if they were gifted for that. So that's the route we are going to head down. We have a sense that God is in that as we've prayed together as a church, as we've talked with elders and leaders and so on, as we've talked with the church about that. We have a sense that that's kind of where God is. So the next steps in that now are for us to begin the conversations with people who could prospectively come into those roles. So to do some job advertising and that kind of stuff, see who applies and so on, and have those kinds of conversations and interviews and all of that sort of stuff. So we're going to be pursuing that over the next few weeks, and we'll keep you updated with any information we have about all of that. And our staff team and our elders and our leaders will take a lead in that whole kind of process and how it unfolds. We recognise that there's an element of wanting to get a move on with this, because obviously with Rob leaving, we're a person down, and an amazing person and a key person on our staff team down. And as we head into the new year, Alex Pugh will be heading off on maternity leave. So there is a kind of a sense of urgency about wanting to grow the team in recognition of those things that are happening or have happened. But also, of course, we want God to be in it, and we want to take our time to make sure that the people who come in the roles in which they come into are the ones that God would want. So we're going to keep trying to be patient, but also to get a move on and see where God leads us. And in all of this, as always, just have that sense God asking us just to take the next step, do the next thing, and see what he does as a result of all of that. So I just wanted to keep you up to date on all of that. As always, if you've got any questions or concerns about that, please come and see us. Please drop me a message, and we'll try to get together or speak to another member of the elders or the leadership team, and they can help you with that. And then we'll keep you updated. We've got another Church Vision Night at the end of October, so we'll be able to give you an update then about the progress that we're making. So, and please be praying. Pray that God would lead us to the people he would have come and join us for this next chapter in our life at ABC. And obviously, please continue to pray for Rob and for Tracy as they head off into their next chapter too. Thanks so much. Thanks for sticking with me through the update today, and I look forward to catching up with you again really soon.